Hi everybody, Angel here. Hope you're doing great. And today I wanted to come on and talk about the topic, how many raw plant diets are there? And I'm going to switch between saying plant diets and vegan diets because, I think for a lot of people, this is a diet and not a lifestyle. And also because some of these diets do include some elements of animal-based components. So thanks for joining. So the topic again is how many raw plant diets are there? Well, it seems that there are as many different raw plant diets out there as there are basically people who identify as raw plant eaters. So I have a guess in the comment section saying 6. 6 question mark. Are there 6? I'm going to say that's a good estimate, but if you're going to put it into kind of broader categories, that's probably a good estimate. So yeah, probably about 6. No. You were not way off. No. So what I'm going to do is just kind of run through a little bit of some of the different types of raw plant vegan diets that I've observed, as well as what I've read about, what I've seen other people, talking about, what they're doing, etc., etc. Thanks for joining. And before I do that, I want to just define what is considered a raw vegan diet. And so a raw vegan diet consists of unprocessed raw plant foods that have not been heated above 40 to 49 degrees centigrade or 104 to 120 degrees Fahrenheit. My understanding as to why the suggestion is not to heat the food above that range is because basically that's considered like the turning point between when we start to lose nutrients and enzymes and when we are preserving or conserving and retaining those nutrients and enzymes in the raw food. So, everybody has their own opinion on this. I've seen where people are really, really strict and they're like, no, not above 118 degrees Fahrenheit, even though this information that I am sharing with you is saying, up to 120 degrees Fahrenheit. I've heard the explanation, and I really like this explanation, that the reason we kind of try to stop at around 118, 120 Fahrenheit is because that's considered like the highest, more or less, temperature that the sun will reach. And because our foods are cooked by the sun naturally, right, when they're growing on the trees or they're growing, from the plants, from the ground, those foods are cooked naturally by the sun. And so the concept that we don't want to artificially heat our foods above that 118, 120 degree Fahrenheit range makes sense to me personally. And I guess it makes sense to lots and lots of other people who follow a raw plant or raw vegan diet. And so typically foods included on a raw plant diet are fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, and sprouted grains and legumes. Now, apparently there are these subgroups among raw vegans. So this is this was kind of the impetus, the reason why I wanted to speak about this today, because apparently there are different subgroups like fruitarians. So either for example, a person who identifies as fruitarian is either generally consuming either all fruits, and by the way, that includes, sweet and savory fruit. So a lot of us, like myself, we grew up thinking that fruits were only the sweet ones with the seeds, but they're the savory fruits as well, like tomatoes, cucumbers, zucchinis, squash, etc., okay, peppers, etc. So if it has a seed in it, it's basically considered a fruit. All right, so those are the fruitarians, and so fruitarians will exclusively or heavily consume fruits. And then you have a category called the juicerians. And those are people who consume large quantities of juices, whether that's exclusive or not, who knows? I don't know. And then there's a subgroup of raw vegans called sproutarians. And I think that I know, well, at least I'm following one, a very famous one, but I can't be sure if he identifies as, sproutarian. But sproutarians, as you can guess, are really people who consume large quantities of sprouts. And, of course, those are beautiful, beautiful plant foods, high energy, nutrients. And the beauty is you can make your own sprouts at home. So that's nice too. You don't have to buy them in the store or whatever, in the market or whatever. And so now there are other categories of raw vegans as well. And you can think of them as high-fat raw vegans and low-fat raw vegans. I personally kind of fell into both categories at different points on my journey. I learned the hard way that, a high-fat raw vegan, in other words, consuming, shall we say, larger quantities of the healthy fats than we really, really, really need, that can lead to a little bit of inflammation. And if anyone were to look at like photos of myself that I posted or videos that I posted of myself, like in 2020, 2021, you would see that my face, for example, was chubbier and chunkier, and I was eating a lot of raw plant fats in the form mainly of nuts, lots and lots of nuts. I was eating a lot of them, and so in different forms, either just like that, like handfuls of nuts, or in like nut cheeses. And so, we need to be careful on balancing our fats, just how we need to be careful on balancing all of our other macros. Our carbohydrates and our proteins, and of course our micronutrients, our, vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, phytochemicals, phytonutrients, etc. So, what I want to also talk about is, thanks for joining, so an open-ended raw food diet, also known as raw foodism or raw veganism, entails consuming primarily or completely raw and unprocessed foods. A food is considered raw if it has not been exposed to heat temperatures or high temperatures of more than, like I was saying just a while ago, between 104, 118, 120 Fahrenheit, or between 40, 48, 49 centigrade. In addition, raw foods should not be refined, pasteurized, treated with pesticides, or otherwise processed in any way. So that's why you're going to see a lot of raw vegans focus on organic foods, because we do not want the food to be, contaminated, influenced by pesticides, herbicides, fungicides, etc., right? Chemicals. We don't want those additional chemicals in our food. So you will notice, when possible, when feasible, when doable, we focus more on organic foods, or really ideally veganic foods. So foods that are grown in vegan soils, because organic does not necessarily mean vegan. There could be animal content in the soils when it comes to organic. So that's why veganic is ideal. Okay. So if you're growing your own food, you have the possibility to grow veganically. In other words, no animal content in your food, in your soils. Vegan diets vegan diets can be a whole lot of combinations. As you know, we can have a junk food vegan diet, we can have a whole food plant-based diet, we can have a raw vegan diet, and then there's this category called a high raw vegan diet. And with high raw vegan diets, typically the definition I have seen and the definition that I personally use is when a person is consuming between 50 and 75% of their diet in weight with raw plant foods. So those are considered high raw vegan diets. And, some people call them raw till 4. They might, consume breakfast and lunch or whatever they're eating, for their morning and afternoon meals. Those will be raw plant foods. And then in the evening, they might have a cooked plant meal. And so that's why sometimes it's called raw till 4, because they're eating raw foods until 4 p.m., wherever they are. Now, some of the liquids that raw vegans consume are herbal teas, fresh fruit juices, vegetable juices. And sometimes when you're talking about raw food preparation, it's actually called uncooking. So, because you're not cooking your food, you're preparing it, right? So, I kind of like that expression, to be honest. So it's called uncooking. Now, you can also cook your food on a raw vegan diet, like I said, up to about 118, 120 Fahrenheit or about 48 to 49 degrees Celsius using a dehydrator, for example. And a lot of people use dehydrators, even if they're not raw vegan, they use them because they are really great for, preparing meals that still maintain the nutrients, the enzymes. There's some debate about the enzymes, but, there's a debate about everything. There's a debate about water, for goodness sakes. What's the best water to drink? So we won't get into that debate, though. But anyway, when you're using a dehydrator, you can make, beautifully yummy raw vegan foods like raw vegan flax crackers, breads, cookies, cakes, pizzas, burgers, you name it. You can make wraps, whatever you want. I saw, several people are making like raw vegan leathers in their dehydrators. So it's really, really interesting what you can do with that, awesome gadget of dehydrators. Now, a lot of raw vegans also use juicers. And so juices are awesome for making your cold pressed, fresh organic juices, either from fruits or vegetables or even herbs. Herbs are awesome as well that you can put in your juicer. And a lot of, some raw vegans find their fresh, fruits and vegetables, herbs, spices, and all of that at farmers markets, or supermarkets like myself. So, or they order them online, or they grow the food themselves, or get it from, a cooperative or a friend or something like that. Now, I have seen some people who basically seem to identify as raw vegan. However, they still consume, for example, honey. Now, honey is not considered vegan, although there's debate about that as well. But I just want to mention that, because a person, or because there's this category of raw veganism, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're 100% plant-based. And in fact, there are some people who do consume, a certain quantity of, animal content. So I just want to mention that as well. Now, a lot of people on the raw vegan diet consider that the raw vegan diet is ideal, it's optimal, because the raw foods are easier for the body to digest and absorb. And of course, as I said, that they also contain more enzymes, more nutrients, vitamins, minerals, etc., compared to cooked foods. So that's also something to keep in mind. And I know that's why I prefer the raw vegan diet, because the nutrients are intact. The hydration is still there. We haven't dried the food out in an oven or on a grill or something like that, or deep frying it and things like that. So just want to mention that. Thanks for joining. And as I was mentioning earlier, there's a whole mix of whether they're consuming any portion of animal-based versus completely plant-based. Now, there's also a very important point, and that is, a person might think, oh my gosh, I can really lose weight automatically on a raw vegan diet. Well, yes, that might be true depending on what you were consuming before, right? What you were eating before that was causing your weight to go up. But I can say, and again, from personal experience, as well as from others who have told their stories on a raw vegan diet that is high in fat, that a person may actually end up gaining weight on a raw vegan diet. So you do want to balance your fats. Some people target 10% fats, 15% fats, 20% fats, whatever works best for you. I mean, it's really hard to say what the optimal raw vegan composition is between, the fats, proteins, and carbohydrates. But I just wanted to mention that, we should not take for granted, we should not assume that everyone is going to lose weight on a raw vegan diet. Some of the foods that are higher in fat are avocados, nuts, and seeds, for example. So you do want to kind of monitor your intake and consumption of those beautifully yummy plant foods, if it's, depending on what your goals are. And also, to be honest, depending on how you feel, because I know when I consume more fat, I feel more tired, a little bit more sluggish. My digestion slows down a little bit as well. So we do want to pay attention to the percentage of fat that we're consuming, even if it's all plants and even if it's all raw. Okay. Now, another thing too is some raw vegan diets are high in sugars, even in processed sugars, to be honest, because you can have raw recipes and raw foods that you're eating, and some people still add processed sugars to their recipes, and so you do want to be careful with that. Another element I want to mention too are the processed oils. Some raw vegans consume higher quantities of oils, right? Coconut oil, avocado oil, olive oil, etc. All the oils. So if you're really watching your weight and your fat intake, you also want to monitor and figure out what the right balance is for you when it comes to those processed fats as well, even though they're considered raw because they're cold pressed, if they're cold pressed, for example. Now, the raw vegan diet is getting more popular. People are more aware of the health benefits of the raw vegan diet. And so, that's another part of why I wanted to come on and talk about this today. And I'm going to go over a little bit of the debate between raw and cooked vegan food. Some people, claim that eating raw has the same benefits as eating a vegan diet that is cooked. However, you have the raw vegans saying, well, no, the raw diet really preserves and maintains and retains the nutrients and enzymes in the food. So, it is said that cooking food can lead to losing up to 90% of the nutrients and enzymes in the food. So you want to keep that in mind too, depending on which way you want to go. if you want to go cooked plant-based or raw plant-based. And in some cultures, people believe that by eating raw food, they're consuming more of the living foods that have been shown to be beneficial to health. So some people call raw foods living foods. Some people call them sun foods. There's someone who calls them something like sun-fired foods. There are other people who call them undenatured foods. So they still have their natural essence and energy in the food, so that's why they're called undenatured. When we cook the foods above a certain temperature, then the foods become denatured. We are taking away the nature of the food, the natural essence and energy of the food, if we heat it too much and for too long. Now, one of the challenges on a raw vegan diet can be, especially at the beginning, and this happened to me, one of the challenges can be that the person may not be eating enough calories, because generally, if you're consuming a moderate level of fat on your raw vegan diet, generally this diet will include a lower calorie count compared to a cooked plant diet, definitely compared usually to the standard diet that's animal based. And so, you do, at the beginning, you do perhaps want to tap into and track your calories, and you can use apps like MyFitnessPal or Chronometer. They have free versions, and, or any other platform that you want to use, obviously. But it is something to take into consideration. When I first started on my raw vegan journey a few years ago, I really didn't understand that I needed to eat, a higher volume of food. And so I know the first few days were really challenging for me because I wasn't getting enough calories. But I quickly understood what I needed to do. So yeah, I mean, if you really just get in, the right combination of fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, herbs, spices, I think you'll do well. And what I really prefer to tell people, and this is what I do personally, I really focus on eating the rainbow, eating all my colors, eating a wide variety of plant foods, getting all my colors, my reds, oranges, yellows, greens, blues, purples, whites, browns, and blacks, all of the colors of the rainbow and of the earth, planet Earth, because each and every color has different nutrients, different energy, different nutrition. Food is information. And so each color has a totally different set of antioxidants, vitamins, minerals, nutrients. So you really want to really focus on getting all your colors. Don't just eat the same foods over and over again either. If you can, really look at this as a lifestyle of abundance. I also want to say, I look at this as a lifestyle, not a diet. In other words, this is not something I'm doing for 1 week, and then after that week, I'm moving on to some other way of eating. For me and for many, many people who eat, raw, mostly raw, whatever you want to call it, for us, it's a lifestyle. And so, yes, we may have a cooked plant food meal here and there. However, it's more of a lifestyle, where you stick to eating the raw, undenatured, living foods that are heated and cooked by the sun, or uncooked, whatever you want to call it. And so now some of the benefits that many people are experiencing from a raw diet, including myself, is we have increased energy levels, clearer skin, we can maintain our weight better, and we have better clarity, better, focus. So that's beautiful, and better moods, better frequency, better hydration for sure, and better, frequency, energy, vibration, all of that, right? Because these foods are undenatured. They are unharmed. They are undamaged by high heat. Okay. So that's something that I love to talk about, and I love the way it feels. So, if anyone is out there and, maybe you want to just kind of add one raw meal per day, if that's something that you're curious about, if you tapped into this live or you're watching the replay, first of all, I want to thank you so much for doing that, for joining me on this beautiful journey. And, I know many years ago when I lost a lot of weight because I was told I was obese, I had high cholesterol, I was, basically I needed to lose a lot of weight. And I spoke about this before, and, I ate a high raw diet. Now, I didn't know about raw veganism. I didn't even know about plant-based. This was over 20 years ago. This was like 25 years ago. And so I ate fruits and a small quantity of nuts. I ate a large quantity of fruits, a small quantity of nuts for breakfast. For lunch, I ate rice, beans, vegetables, herbs, and spices, a big bowl of that. And then for dinner, I ate a large quantity of fruits and a small quantity of nuts, and I lost over 80 pounds in about a year and a half, maybe a year and a quarter, a year and a half. So, and, I got my cholesterol down. My weight was in a normal range. I felt strong. Of course, I exercised. Yes, I did. I practiced aerobics and light weightlifting, and I did some walking. So, of course, there was exercise involved in that, but it was really, really, really the diet that, just catapulted my restoration of my healthy weight level, of my healthy cholesterol level, etc. So, even if a person doesn't want to go fully raw, 100% raw, 80% raw, you don't have to do that. It's totally up to you. But I can say that the benefits are beautiful. So there you have it. That's it for me for now. Let me know in the comments if you're picking up what I'm laying down, if you can relate to any of this, if you have any questions, if you have any comments. I invite you to tap the link in my bio, explore my website. And on my website, you're going to see tons and tons of free information, some juicing information, raw vegan recipes, cooked vegan recipes, vegan seafood recipes. You have information there about how to handle stress, about deep breathing, meditation. Those are super important because after all, this is a lifestyle. It's from head to toe. It's not just a diet. It's not just what you put in your mouth. I have information on there about my coaching programs, about my plant-powered raw vegan coaching programs. Also, I have a beauty workshop, plant-powered vegan beauty workshop. You can look at that. I have tons of information on nutrition, research-based, evidence-based, science-based information. This is not just something someone's pulling out of a hat. This is real, real, real. These are real facts. So if you're curious about plant nutrition, you can check out the links on my website as well. And also I invite you to follow me on YouTube. Check out my YouTube channel and subscribe, follow, comment, share. And, I'm over there on YouTube as well. So with that, I am going to just wrap this up here. And thank you so very much for joining, either live or on the replay. If you want any of my help on your life journey through my coaching programs, just send me a direct message and we can set up a free discovery call to get started and to see how I can help you on your beautiful, beautiful journey. So thank you so much, everybody. I wish you a beautiful rest of your day wherever you are in the world, and take good care. Bye-bye.